All right, let's get right into it. We're about to launch an investigation that's going to mess with your head a little bit. That nice, clean timeline of history you learned in school? Well, we're about to find out that it's hiding some absolutely unbelievable connections. So let's kick things off with a real head-scratcher. On one side, you've got the Woolly Mammoth. I mean, that's the poster child for the Ice Age, right? And on the other, the Great Pyramids of Giza, one of the most incredible feats of ancient engineering. What in the world could they possibly have to do with each other? The answer, I promise, is going to completely upend what you think you know. So your brain is, well, it's a little bit lazy. It likes to keep things tidy. So it creates these separate mental buckets. In this bucket over here, you've got everything prehistoric. Mammoths, saber-toothed cats, hunter-gatherers, and then way over here, in a totally different bucket, you have ancient civilization. Pharaohs, pyramids, advanced society. We picture this huge, uncrossable chasm of time separating them. But what if that chasm—
910 years. Get this, the last of the woolly mammoths, living on a remote island, were still around for almost 1,000 years after the Great Pyramid was completed. They weren't just alive at the same time, the pyramids were ancient ruins to the last mammoths. Let that sink in.
So how is that even possible? Why does our brain get this so incredibly wrong? Well, the prime suspect in this mystery isn't bad history teachers. Nope, it's actually a built-in feature of your own brain. Let's open up the case file on our own minds.
There's a name for this glitch. It's called chronological compression, and it's basically your brain acting like a zip file for history. To save mental energy, it takes the distant past and just squashes it all together, making things that were thousands of years apart feel like they happened around the same time in some vague, long ago. It's basically lossy compression for your memory.
Okay, imagine history is this giant paper scroll. The part right in front of you, last year, the 90s, the 80s, it's all stretched out, filled with tons of detail. But as you look further down the scroll, into the deep past, the writing gets more and more compressed until whole centuries are just blurred together. This isn't just a cool metaphor, it's a visual representation of a real scientific principle called the Weber-Fechner Law.
And look, this isn't just some fun little theory. It's grounded in real cognitive science. These frameworks explain why the recent past feels so long and detailed, while the ancient past feels like a short, condensed story. It's why we think of ancient Egypt as just one thing, a single archetype, instead of a dynamic civilization that lasted for thousands of years. Our brain takes shortcuts, and that totally warps how we perceive time.
Okay, now for the really fun part. We're going to crack open the case files, a series of rapid-fire, mind-bending historical overlaps that prove just how broken our internal clocks really are. You ready? First up,
Let's talk about Cleopatra. When I say that name, what pops into your head? Probably pyramids, pharaohs, hieroglyphs, the whole ancient Egypt package, right? So we automatically drop her right into that pyramid age bucket. But is that where she really belongs?
This is absolutely wild. Cleopatra's life is closer on the timeline to the 1969 moon landing than it is to the construction of the Great Pyramid. When she was queen, the pyramid was already 2,500 years old. She was basically a tourist admiring ancient history in her own country, just like we are today. Okay, next case file. Let's pit these two against each other. In this corner, Oxford University. We think of it as this ancient medieval institution that's still around. And in the other corner, the Aztec Empire. We think of that as this even more ancient, long-lost civilization. So our brain tells us the Aztecs have to be way older.
Nope, not even close. Oxford University is over 300 years older than the Aztec Empire. Think about that. Professors were teaching students at Oxford for 3 centuries before the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan was even founded. We get it wrong because Oxford is still here, so it feels newer, while the Aztecs are gone, so they feel ancient.
Okay, buckle up because this next one. This one is probably the most jarring of all. On the one hand, you have the guillotine. It's the brutal, defining symbol of the French Revolution in the 1700s. On the other, you have Star Wars, the icon of 1970s sci-fi movies. These two things feel like they exist in completely different universes.
And yet, they don't. The last execution by guillotine in France took place in September 1977. Star Wars had premiered just 4 months earlier. For a few months, the world of Luke Skywalker and the world of state-sanctioned beheadings were exactly the same world.
And if that's not crazy enough, here's the kicker: the direct human link. The actor Christopher Lee, the guy who played Saruman and Count Dooku? As a teenager, he actually witnessed the last public guillotining in France. A guy who would later fight with a lightsaber literally saw a piece of medieval brutality with his own eyes.
But if you want the ultimate example of a human bridge across time, just look at the incredible life of Harriet Tubman. We put her in the Civil War box, and that's it. But her life connects two completely different eras. She was born when Thomas Jefferson was still alive, and she lived long enough to be alive at the same time as Ronald Reagan. One single, remarkable life connects the world of the Founding Fathers to the world of the Cold War.
So, okay, we've looked at the evidence, the mammoths, Cleopatra, Star Wars. What's the final verdict here? What does this all actually mean? Well, it means it's time to throw out that old linear map of the past.
Here's the big takeaway. History is not a simple, straight line. It's a messy, chaotic, overlapping web. Those mental buckets our brains love so much, they're misleading. Cultures and technologies advance at totally different speeds, all at the same time. And most incredibly, a single human life can act as a bridge between worlds we thought were completely separate. Knowing about this glitch in our thinking doesn't just fix a few dates. It gives us a way richer and way more fascinating picture of the past.
And here's the thing. This investigation, it doesn't really end here. It's just the beginning. Now that you know about chronological compression, you're going to start seeing these hidden connections absolutely everywhere. So I'll leave you with this challenge. What mind-blowing historical overlap are you going to find next?
Hey, thank you so much for spending your time learning with us today. If you found this insightful, do us a favor and hit that like button, comment with the fact that surprised you the most, and definitely subscribe to InfoNow for more deep dives into our amazing world.